I finally understand why people say the first $100,000 is the hardest part of your journey. And before I experienced it myself, I thought that quote was just one of those generic finance sayings that people repeat online. But now that I've actually gone through it personally, I get it completely because the first $100,000 feels brutally slow. It feels like no matter how much effort you put in, the progress barely moves sometimes. You're working, investing, sacrificing, staying disciplined, and yet the numbers still feel small for a very long time. Before we get into everything today, though, quick disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just sharing my real experience building my own portfolio and what I've learned mentally through this process, and why I think the beginning phase of wealth building is where most people quit. Now, here's the thing that nobody talks about enough. The first $100,000 is not just financially difficult, it's psychologically difficult. Because during that phase, almost everything depends on you. Your contributions, your discipline, your income, your sacrifices, your consistency. The market helps a little, sure, but not enough for you to really feel it yet. And honestly, that's why it's so hard emotionally, because when your account is smaller, every gain feels tiny and every setback feels huge. You put in thousands of dollars and maybe the account only moves a few percentage points, right? You have a bad market week and it wipes out months of contributions. That can hurt psychologically. During that phase, it's really easy to feel like you're not getting anywhere. Now, I think social media makes this even worse, honestly, because online everybody shows the end result only. Nobody shows the years where they were slowly building. I'm showing you guys the years here on this channel. Nobody shows the boring stage. Nobody shows the discipline phase. Nobody shows the years where you're investing consistently while still feeling financially average. But honestly, that's the phase that matters the most, because the first $100,000 is really where your identity changes. That's where you go from someone who talks about investing to someone who actually lives like an investor. And there's a huge difference between those two things. Now, for me personally, one of the hardest parts was realizing how much patience this process actually requires. Because in the beginning, your money is not doing much work yet. You're just contributing all of your money. You're doing almost all of the work. You're the engine. You're the one contributing. You're the one creating momentum. You're the one sacrificing today for a future you can't even fully see yet. And that takes a lot of mental discipline. Now, here's where everything starts changing. Once you finally cross that first $100,000, the portfolio starts behaving differently, and you're going to notice it. The market starts contributing more. The swings become larger. The growth starts becoming more visible. And this is where compounding finally starts feeling real emotionally instead of just mathematically. I'd say that's the biggest shift, because before 100,000, investing feels mostly like effort. After 100,000, it starts feeling like momentum, and those are completely different feelings psychologically. Now, obviously, $100,000 is not financial freedom. That's not what I'm saying here in this video, but it's the point where the machine finally starts helping you push towards financial freedom. And honestly, that's why I think so many people fail before they ever experience compounding properly, because they quit during the slow phase. They quit before the snowball even really forms. And the snowball phase is where everything starts changing for you. Now, one thing I've really noticed lately in my own portfolio is how much differently the market affects the account now compared to before. A good market day for me now can move the account by thousands of dollars. That's crazy to think about, because years ago I would have had to physically work a long time to create the same amount of movement. And that realization changes your relationship with investing completely, because now you start understanding why wealthy people stay invested. Now you start understanding why consistency matters so much, Now you start understanding why time is the most important asset that you have. And I think this is where investing becomes addictive, but in a healthy way. Because once you finally start seeing the money working, you want to keep feeding the machine. Now, another thing I think people misunderstand is that the first $100,000 usually requires the most lifestyle discipline too. Because during that phase, your investing contributions matter massively, which means your spending matters massively too. Every unnecessary car payment, every lifestyle upgrade, every impulsive purchase, all of it delays momentum. And I think that's why the first $100,000 teaches people more about themselves than the money itself. It teaches patience, discipline, delayed gratification, consistency, and emotional control. Now, here's something else I've been realizing lately. The road from $0 to $100,000 honestly feels harder than the road from $100,000 to $200,000. I actually thought that phase was a lot of fun. Not because investing gets easier technically, but because psychologically you finally have proof that the process works. That changes everything mentally, and it motivates you. Because once you see momentum, you stop questioning whether investing even works, and you start focusing on how far that you can actually take this. Now, obviously, there will still be bad years and bad months and corrections and bear markets and emotional moments. I'm not pretending the process suddenly becomes effortless, because it doesn't. But once you get through the first brutal phase, the relationship between you and the portfolio changes permanently. And I think that's why people who make it through the first $100,000 often become much more committed investors long term and probably become millionaires, because they've finally seen what compounding actually feels like. Now, one thing I really want people to understand from this video is that wealth building is supposed to feel slow at first. That is normal. The beginning's not exciting. The beginning is repetitive. The beginning feels invisible sometimes, but eventually, if you stay consistent long enough, the momentum starts showing up, and you'll see it. And when it does, everything starts feeling a lot different. Now, if you're in the early phase right now, I want you to understand something. The fact that it feels slow does not mean that it is not working. I cannot stress that enough. That's the trap. Most people quit because they mistake slow progress for no progress. But those small investments, those monthly contributions, those boring, consistent deposits, they are building the foundation for the future version of your portfolio. And one day, that account starts moving very differently. One day, that snowball finally forms, and I think that's one of the most rewarding feelings in personal finance. Now, moving forward, my focus stays exactly the same. Continue investing aggressively, stay disciplined, avoid emotional decisions, and most importantly, keep feeding the machine. Because now that I finally felt what momentum feels like, I understand why consistency matters so much more. Now, if you got value from this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button so this reaches more people. I think it's an important message. Drop a comment down below too. If you've crossed $100,000 already, when did compounding finally start feeling real to you? And if you haven't hit it yet, what's your current investing goal? I'll see you guys in the next video.